Hello, and welcome back to Trailblazer MTG. My name is Paul or Prop, and in this video we'll be taking a look at the deck tech for the deck I've submitted for the July Asynchronous League over on the Trailblazer Discord. I'm going to get right into it. My deck for this league is going to be Mardu Midrange with a sub-theme of tokens. So I'll get into the reasons and my thinking of why I chose this. Well, so the first reason is throughout each of the leagues, I've kind of run a different archetype. I have run Tempo with the Azorius Flash. I have run Aggro with Red Deck Wings. I've run a kind of bad combo-ish synergy deck in the previous with the Team Escape Shift. And so this time I wanted to go into a very more standard mid-range plan. I think it could be very easy for a mid-range deck to want to play blue. Blue is still, even after the bans, one of the most powerful support colors because it gives you access to counter spells if you want them, but more importantly, it gives you access to some of the best card selection and card draw that the format has to offer. And one of the things that mid-rangey kind of plans need to do is be able to keep the velocity up by making sure that they always have cards in hand options, whether it be removal spells as answers, disruption for your opponent's game plan, or just threats to rebuild after things like a Wrath or your opponent removing your key creatures. I decided I didn't want to do that. One of my favorite archetypes in Singleton, and has been since when I first was introduced to sort of competitive Singleton formats, is Aristocrats. And I have an Aristocrats list. I could have run Aristocrats, but again, I did sort of the synergy plan in the previous, so I wanted to go for the mid-range. But that's kind of pushed me towards Mardu. Also, couple of key cards we'll get to as to the reasons why I wanted to go with this plan. So let's get into the actual deck construction. First up, Planeswalkers. We have Obnixilis. 3 mana, 3 loyalty Planeswalker. Can sacrifice a creature of power X to get a non-legendary copy of himself with starting loyalty X, which allows you to either get 2 discard, lose 2 life options, or you can have the original copy create a devil and have the other one, the copy require the discard, which allows you to gain life, gives you some flexibility, also gives multiple targets for your opponents to try and remove. Not a lot of ways to get rid of multiple Planeswalkers with removal spells. So either he's going to soak up some damage or eat quite a few cards from their hand. You can very easily sacrifice a token, getting into the tokens theme, and get essentially 2 for 1 your opponent. Wandering Emperor, we saw this in the Azorius Flash, comes in at instant speed, can create tokens, can exile creatures, and can just make your, if you've stuck a single 1 or 2 threats, can start to make those threats much bigger, much harder to deal with the plus ability. And then the third one, Elspeth. 5 mana, expensive Planeswalker. However, the initial line of text, especially in a deck that has some token synergies, doubling up any of those token generation can be very, very powerful. +1 creates 2 soldier tokens, obviously creates 1 and then doubles it for 2. If they kill Elspeth in response to the activation, then yes, it only creates 1, but that's fairly rare. Has the 0, which you can, if you've gone a little wider, can jump your entire team, allow you to push for lethal, and if you need to, it can just come down and remove one of the bigger creatures on the board. Also very powerful. Getting into the creature set, 27 creatures, so a fairly high creature count, but not the highest. And really what we're going for here is efficiency of of what the creature can do. Moonshadow, it's a 1-drop, comes in with 6 -1/-1 counters, gets bigger every time a permanent card, so not tokens, goes from anywhere into your graveyard, so only your side of the board. This will trigger off things like Overlord, off any discard outlets, removal, things dying on your side of the board in combat, or even just sacking fetch lands. Usher of the Fallen, a useful 1-drop. If it's not dealt with, you can just kind of put your mana into this to start going wide early. Maybe force your opponent into trading down with mana for a removal spell. Force them into an early Wrath that you can rebuild from because you haven't been invested into future cards. You've just been investing mana into this creature. Deep Cavern Bat, very good hand attack creature. Can, in a lot of situations, can be a big problem on its own. It can represent a huge life swing. FOMO we saw and Inti we both saw in Red Deck Wins, same as Tersa. Really efficient creatures. Just to go through this a little quick, Lion Sash, Graveyard Hate, Rat King for Minister, very good at clogging the board up with rats, and then at instant speed can sack those rats to reanimate. And if you killed one of your opponent's big creatures, you can actually reanimate your opponent's things at instant speed with the Minister. Very useful. Super Shredder can get so big so fast. Anytime anything leaves the battlefield on either side, any permanent leaves the battlefield on either side, it gets bigger. Adeline can just kill people. She gets very big very quickly with the star 4 stat line, and just creates tokens. Alesha, first strike that can be very tough to deal with, attacks as a 3/3, and can reanimate if you've attacked, even if she hasn't attacked, which is very crucial. Brutal Cathar, creature removal, creature that can flip into a powerful red werewolf. The Cosmogrand Zenith, if you're able to cast multiple spells a turn, this deck it can be a bit mana intensive, but there's enough cheap spells in here that on turn 4, there's a good chance you can double spell after casting this, or even cast this and then something else afterwards. Gix, very good at keeping your velocity up. If you can attack in with a few tokens that you don't care about, the turn this is played, you can lose some life, draw some cards, really keep your velocity up. Preacher of the Schism holds the ground down, 2/4 Death Touch, very strong blocker, but also gives you a lot of value on attacks. Sage Disguise is interesting. Again, with the Cosmogrand Zenith wanting to cast second spell a turn, it's not something you can do every turn, but if you can do this the turn that you cast Sage Disguise, you get 2 of them. Very useful. A 2/3 Flying Lifelink is just on rate a very powerful option. So getting 2 of them for 3 mana, like, kind of bonkers, and kind of forces opponents to wrath if they have it. We have the Evangelist. It's 3 bodies, and if it gets to attack, it pumps your team. Sephiroth, if you've generated a bunch of tokens, can sack them to draw cards, and then if you were able to kill, get 4 things to die in a single turn, you can flip, and once he flips, you get the Blood Artist emblem, and you can sack your entire board to draw a bunch of cards off the back of a 5/5 attacking. Skyclave, useful removal spell, can deal with things like Uro, Oko, Abhorrent Oculus, some of the most powerful creatures and planeswalkers in the format can just be got rid of with this. Suki is a very powerful creature. She gives every other creature +1/+0, plus also if a permanent leaves the battlefield during your turn, you get a 1/1. Again, starting more of the tokens kind of stuff that can kind of sit around and get value, and that need to kind of be dealt with over time. Similar with Zergo, 2/4, but when he attacks, you get 2 1/1s. that don't need to be sacrificed at the end of the turn. Mobilize requires you to sack the tokens that you created during the attack step, but he prevents that at the end of turn, which is great. It allows you to go much wider. The Elegy Acolyte, 4/4 lifelink for 4, very strong. It has a similar text to Gix, but only triggers once per attack step. And then the Void, again, the Void option, if something's left the battlefield, you get a 2/2 at the end of turn. Shieldred's still one of the best 4-drop creatures in the entire format. You gain life when you draw a card. Opponent loses life when they draw cards. Again, something that really has to be dealt with. Glorybringer, I'm so happy I get to play Glorybringer in a format in 2026. It's a 4/4 flying haste for 5 that if you really need to get rid of something with 4 power, 4 toughness or less, you can just exert it and shoot it on attacks. And then Overlord, very useful self-mill creature, comes down at 2 or comes down at 5. Moving on to our sorcery list. Themes of the sorceries, a lot of hand attack and a lot of and some board wipe options. We have Villainous Wrath, Day of Black Sun, and Split Up at the as ways to get rid of multiple. And Shadow Skull Smashing can get rid of multiple creatures. Dreams of Steel and Oil, Intimidation Tactics, and Thoughtseize will get rid of as hand attack. Strategic Betrayal, very good against any decks that want to just resolve one creature and protect it. Really hard to protect a creature when you're targeting the opponent. And it then also exiles their graveyard, so doubles its graveyard hate. I will be honest, I don't think this is a particularly good card, but I have seen it be very powerful in certain situations, and I think the format right now, this is a useful card in the way the format is going. For the instance, we have some direct damage with Burst Lightning, Lightning Strike, our removal suite, Fateful Absence, Requiring Hex, Fatal Push, Erode, Abrade, Bitter Triumph, Get Lost, Anguished Unmaking, Shield Strategic, Long Goodbye. We also have Instant Speed, Pseudo Wrath with Settle the Wreckage, and one of the reasons I wanted to also go into Mardu with this deck is Inevitable Defeat. For anyone who plays Standard, this card has been a staple of the 4-color Jeskai Revelation deck. The can't be countered, exile a permanent, and attached to a Lightning Helix as well. Kind of an insane rate for a 4-mana instant, and just able to turn games around. Really powerful. Anguished Unmaking, kind of the inevitable defeat at home, but still a very strong removal spell. And then for some of our additional card draw, we have Deadly Dispute, Vision of Love, Fanatical Offering, and Village Rites. Most of these require you to sacrifice a creature or an artifact, but will draw you 2 cards. Vision of Love is sack an artifact or draw or discard a card. So useful ways to refill after the initial flurry of interaction. Then Artifacts and Enchantments, Agatha's Soul Cauldron, very powerful graveyard, targeted graveyard hate. Any creature with an activated ability that is in opponent's graveyard can become fuel. We also have Meat Hook for another kind of a removal. Also, just gives you reach. If you have a bunch of tokens and the board's kind of gummed up and you need those last points of damage, you can just hit this, get rid of all your tokens, and dome them for hopefully lethal. We also have Fable of the Mirror Breaker, really powerful option. Yes, there are a lot of legends in this deck, but the being able to copy even just the Goblin Shaman or some of the more powerful tokens can be very, very useful. And then we also have Legend of Roku. Being able to, it's 4 mana, essentially draw 3, and the next turn gives you mana to help make sure that you can cast any or all of those. And then when it turns over, if it survives, you get Avatar Roku, 4/4, that when it attacks gives you 4 red mana and a way to use it. 8 mana to create a 4/4 red dragon with flying. You probably had 4 to cast Roku. You've got 4 more 3 turns later every time he attacks. So creating that dragon is not unreasonable. And then that dragon plus Roku can create more dragons. And at that point, the game's over. But you get the idea. So then we have our suite of lands. We have so this deck is primarily black-white with red as the support color. It's definitely more than a splash. I would not call it a splash, but it is more in the support color. The only double red pips we have are at 4 and 5, plus the Shatter Skull Smashing, but that in itself is a land. So as far as the creature lands we have the Restless Fortress, 1/4, which drains for 2. We have Hive of the Eye Tyrant, which is a 3/3 with Menace that can also tax opponent's graveyard. Again, we have Iganjo and Takanuma for the white and black lands. We also have Sokenzan. I don't think. Yes, the tokens are useful, but I think Sokenzan might be one of the weaker of the cycle of the Neon Dynasty utility channel lands. But it's still worth having. It's a land that comes in untapped and taps for red mana, so that's fine on its own. Other than that. We have Abandoned Air Temple as a way, again, another way to make it, if we go wide, make our tokens much more powerful, putting the counters on them. Dalkovan Encampment allows you to create more tokens. Quarry Mountain Monastery, a way to just find more cards if you need them. We then also have Demolition Field and Field of Ruin for land interaction, and fetches, and finally Urborg. Again, with black is one of the more dense pip requirements, so having an Urborg just to make sure that we can always have our black mana available is very useful. So that's the deck. This has been definitely a fun deck to test around. I will be interested to see how things go in the early round. See whether, if I feel like some of these options that I've picked are maybe a little too cute. Maybe the Zergo, maybe the Sage, maybe even the Glorybringer, unfortunately. But I think this is definitely a good starting point. We will see who our opponent is in round 1. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this. This deck can definitely grind against most opponents. I think we are starting to see a rise of more control-y decks coming into this league in the format. There's the Team of Control is definitely a new format, a new deck that a couple of people are running in this league, and it can be really tough to fight through. And they do have the escape shift, and a couple of other really big late game haymakers that they are designed around getting to and then casting after they've run you out of resources. So if we run into those, we may struggle because midrange often struggles against control. But other than that, I think this deck will have game against most other people. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see how things go. So with that, next week will be round 1. But until then, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications. It really helps. Want to try and get the channel in front of more people so that we can get the format in front of more people and hopefully get more people to hop on board and try it out. So with that, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.